IndiGlobal Media Network.
We would be having a presentation, and for this presentation, I would like to call upon Dr. Chandrashekar, CEO, JGI Group of Schools, please.
Morning to all of you. I think since morning we have been having a great conversation on a couple of things, and for me, from the inaugural session, the biggest takeaway was the foundation of the country is laid in the schools. I think that's a very good statement, and humanizing education is indeed the need of the hour. At the outset, I would like to thank Sudhir and also the School Leadership Summit by IndiGlobal for providing this platform. And to be honest with you, Sudhir, let me make a confession that I learnt about your education festival today. So although I'm in Hyderabad for quite some time, but if you are doing this for the third time, for the fourth time, and I did speak to Mr. Das in the break, he said that whatever you're seeing here, 4 times that is the education festival. And if that is true, then I think I am there for the December festival. Thank you. Yeah. So now coming back, I had a conversation with him, and he was talking about, can we have a conversation for maybe 6-7 minutes on the gaps in education, especially when it comes to the school education system. Let me get you started, and then I would really want a couple of things from your side to come as well, so that we'll have a conversation. In my opinion, there needs to be the first shift of mindset about school education, or education for that matter, is not about just infrastructure. Let me tell you why am I making this statement. I come from Bangalore, and Bangalore education market is a little more saturated and more matured in terms of the kind of options the citizens have. Even there, the talk or the discussion is moved from what happens in the premises, campus, to what exactly happens inside the classroom. Let me break that down for you. Now we talk about, okay, I have a great infrastructure, I build wonderful classrooms, maybe air conditioned, I have this facility, that amenity, and that kind of an infrastructure for your children, and everything is fine, and parents are actually getting attracted, and they are making that payment, and they are coming and taking admissions. After that, what? The conversation is all about what is happening inside the classroom. And that is where I want to come to the point that the leaders of the schools are not the management. The leaders in the school are the teachers and the principals. Are we equipping them and empowering them enough? And when I say empowering, it's very natural for a human mind to think about technology. You say, let's get them all the best tools and make them very, very powerful. Let me be honest, we also know, we are all practitioners here, technology alone will not solve anything. It is about that personal touch. It is about that connection which we establish as a teacher or a leader in the classroom with our student. So for me, the first gap is sensitizing more and more the connection between the child and the teacher. You saw in the morning, a lot of people shared about their memories from school time. None of them spoke about the palatial campuses or the wonderful infrastructure their schools had. Everybody spoke about one person who made the difference, and in 99.9% of the times, it is that one person who is the teacher or the principal. I think there is what we are missing. That piece is what we are missing today. In Hyderabad, I see every other day, we see a lot of new institutions and a lot of school campuses coming up. Wonderful, good for the city, good for the real estate. But what's happening inside those classrooms? What's happening to the children? That's the important thing. I think that is the first point. The second point I want to really bring it here is, I'm being very honest here. Pardon me if I'm using a very rude statement, but I'm fed up when people say Indian education system does not work. I'm really fed up that Indian education system needs to be fixed. And the worst and the irony of it is the people who speak are products of the same education system. Right? I'll give you a piece of statistics. 98% of Americans are people, 98% of people in America are people from other countries, including America. Only 2% of their population, or maybe 4% now, are Indians. But among the Fortune 500 companies, 64% of Fortune 500 companies are led and managed by Indians. Why is the Indian education system has put them there? Now, what do we need to do if I have to talk about the gaps in education, in especially school education, is a big level of mass education or awareness program is required to sensitize the society at large about the changes which has already happened in Indian education system for the last 15-20 years. I left school maybe 18 years ago or 20 years ago. People think that whatever happened then is still happening in the school today. I'm sorry. Things are changing, things have changed, things are evolving, and a lot of things have changed. But then only the people in the education system know about it, talk about it, crib about it, enjoy it. But outside, people think education is like that museum. The school and the campus is like that museum. Nothing changes inside. No. Only the controversies which come in the newspapers which talk about, okay, this person's chapter. I was told a Tollywood film star's chapter was included in one of the books. Right? And that becomes a big news. And that gives us an underlying statement saying, education is politics. Nothing changes. It's rote learning. No. There are a lot of things. But then the students and the parents and the society at large are not understanding the changes which are happening at a day-to-day level. So that is one of the things. I'm not here to talk about what does not work in the school. Yes, there are a lot of issues which we need to fix. But the good news is people are already working on it. There is nothing that we are turning a blind eye and saying that no, we need external impetus or external support to come and fix our problems. No, of course, we need some kind of technology or some kind of help or some kind of best practices which we will share and we will bring it into our system and try to hack it. But then it's already in progress. The third thing, I think the skill gap in education, especially in schools, is we need to focus as educators and also as a society to start celebrating failure. I mean, I was just talking to a friend of mine who is an entrepreneur in Hyderabad, and his son scored 96.4%, and he still could not make into the top list of the engineering colleges in Hyderabad or in Telangana for that matter. He's a local student and all those things. And he's now looking at one institute at Punjab for an engineering seat. Now, I'm not talking about the meritocracy of it, but what I'm trying to tell you is, okay, 96.4% is also not getting them. Can we spare a thought for that child for a minute? Because he thinks that I could not make it in the list in Hyderabad, so I'm a failure. Father and the parent and the society is busy fixing him somewhere. Now, once that fixation is done either in Punjab or in Haryana or any other place, what happens to that boy or that girl for the next 4 years? Nobody wants. It's one checklist item done on my list saying, okay, this is it. I think that attitude is the gap, real gap. That attitude needs to be fixed. Right? I'm not saying that children should not study. I'm not saying that there should not be any competitive exams. I'm not even presenting that argument at all. What am I presenting is, we as a society, we as the education system, we need to start looking at identifying, acknowledging and recognizing failure and supporting them. We talk big things about socio-emotional development. We talk a lot about going the extra mile. We speak a lot about sensitizing and sensitivity towards people. But then we need to bring them into our classrooms. Because somebody rightly said in the morning, the foundation of the country is laid in the schools of today. If as a society, we don't want to celebrate failures, we don't want to acknowledge failures, leave alone celebrating, I don't think we are going in the right direction. I mean, we talk about all the big successes of Elon Musk or big entrepreneurs and those who made it big. Like there was a guy who's a 18-year-old or a 16-year-old boy who became an entrepreneur. Right? We celebrate them. But even a Vishwanathan Anand or an Indian cricket team had to go through a lot of failures to win that World Cup. Right? It's not important that hundreds and thousands of people come onto the Marine Drive and celebrate the World Cup when it comes to the country. It's also important what we did when we just lost the World Cup final 6 months ago. We empathized. I think for the first time I have seen where the country empathized with the Indian team when they lost at the World Cup final at the recently concluded the 50-over World Cup match. That's the attitude shift we need to bring into education. That's the gap which is there, which we need to bring. Last but not the least, I would like to ask you a couple of things, whichever you feel is the real gap which we need to bring in, because let's also learn from each other and take away. What do you think? Maybe this side of the room or this side of the room can go first. What do you think is the gap in school education which we need to fix?
Mindset. That's wonderfully appreciated. But when we talk about the mindset of the parent, we say that celebrating children is one of the best practices that we do. But after certain time, okay, the FA is done, so when are you calling for the PTA? They wanted to check on the marks. So that mindset has to change. So rather than educating children or something, I feel parents should be educated firstly with the shift education.
Absolutely.
But how do we do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, even I mentioned that and I'm repeating it. Thanks for again reiterating it, that it is a mass awareness program which we need to create for one parent and also to the society at large about the things which we need to shift. Because at the end of the day, I feel schools have a responsibility of not just educating the children inside the classroom, but educating the nearby society as well. Schools are the catalyst for change. How do we do that is a question. Anybody would want to answer that? How do we do this kind of sensitization of the parents about shifting the mindset from marks to progress? It's not about grades alone, it's about progress. That's one question. We will leave that, and maybe the upcoming panel also can explore looking at solutions for that, because I'm sure there is no one answer to it. It's a whole process we need to follow. Any other gap or any other thing which you would like to raise here for further consideration? Yes, sir.
Thing is the communication between teacher and student. So that we need to fix. So generally what I observed becoming a teacher, see I face lot of problems with parents as well as student to teach something, educate in the classroom, and to teach something in the society like a parent. So I want to share one experience to everyone. See, when we are threatening student to change his habits and to learn, but parents are not supporting us. So the problem is the parents is always thinking the only one word, we are spending lot of money. So we are spending lot of money, why you are threatening my child? So these kind of gaps, so we can solve through student only. First we need to explain the importance to the student, and then through student only it will go to the parents. Maybe the parents may realize. So that is my conclusion.
That is a good communication, of course, can solve. I think I'm reminded of one of the change we brought into our own organization. I come from Jain Group of Institutions, JGI schools, as a CEO. We reworked on our organization structure in January 2024. What is that organization structure? Is simple. All of you can imagine a triangle. We place the student at the top of the triangle and the chairman at the bottom of the triangle. A new organization structure for the new academic year or the financial year or the calendar year, January 2024, we brought in a simple pyramid structure where we brought the student at the top and the chairman at the bottom. And the rest, I think all of us are educated enough and intelligent enough to assume where, I mean, CEO will come just above the chairman. And then you have the entire thing. The focus here is, as you rightly said, if you keep the main thing, that is the student is there and we all exist. The whole ecosystem of school education revolves around the child. And if that is kept sacrosanct, and I think rest everything falls into its place. So we are doing it, but this awareness of information and education and bringing the community together to this is important. Because I see, as somebody said, PTM. I see the PTM also, if you look at it as a mute spectator from outside where there is a teacher and the parent, they are talking, the child is already out of the conversation. Both physically, metaphorically and literally. It should also have a place in the conversation. So I think I'll leave you guys with these thoughts. Thanks Sudhir once again for giving me this opportunity. And I'm sure the panels will explore more. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Request you to please stay on the stage. Can I call upon Dr. G.V. Gupta, who is representing Commissioner and Director, School Education Department, Government of Telangana, to please give away the memento to Dr. Chandrashekar, who is the CEO, JGI Group of Schools. Request everyone to please give a round of applause. I think after 3 we are much more active right now. Thank you.
IndiGlobal Media Network, taking innovation, collaboration, and growth to the forefront.